Ndubuisi. OlaRose is an SU 2029 biology and journalism major, a Coronet scholar, a Renee Crown University scholar, and she is the program and founder of Finding Scoliosis Kindly, the FISC project. Tonight, this evening, she is going to lead you through a workshop on poetry called Embracing Your Challenges, a conversation and workshop. Please, it is my honor to present OlaRose.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eagerson. I really appreciate that introduction. Good evening, everyone. My name is OlaRose Ndubuisi. As I said, I'm a freshman here at Syracuse University, dual majoring in biology and journalism, and I'm very grateful to be the 2024 to 2025 New York State Youth Poet Laureate. Today I'm going to do a presentation about my experience as a student navigating disabilities. I'm also going to read one of my poems about scoliosis, which is a medical condition and disability that I have. And then I will end with a fun, relaxing writing and art workshop where we all can use creative outlets to express ourselves and connect with each other, which is something that really helped me when I was diagnosed with scoliosis. And as I said, this is our agenda for today, and at the end, if you have any questions, you can feel free to come up and ask me. This is a little introduction. Once again, my name is OlaRose. I'm from Pittsford, New York, which is in the greater Rochester, New York area. I also have Nigerian heritage. I wasn't born in Nigeria, but my parents and my grandparents were, and it's a very big part of who I am. And I'm really grateful that I get to travel back to Nigeria every year with my family. I'm majoring in biology in the College of Arts and Sciences, as well as journalism in Newhouse. And these are some of the programs that I'm grateful to be in. I'm a Coronet scholar in the Renee Crown University Honors Program here at Syracuse University, and I'm also in the 8-year BSMD program with SUNY Upstate Medical University, giving me guaranteed admission to medical school. Regarding my future career goals, I hope to become a doctor and write medical articles and make medical documentaries to educate people and translate complex medical topics into a more accessible format for audiences. That's a photo of me with Otto, because I absolutely love Otto and I love the school spirit. I believe that disability looks different for everybody. I think sometimes we have a preconceived notion of what it means to have a disability or what that should look like. But everyone has their own unique journey with their disabilities and with their challenges, and that appears in their life in different social, emotional, and physical forms. If you look at me, a lot of people think that I'm fine or I don't have any issues, but I have a lot of invisible disabilities that impact my day-to-day life. I believe that we all have invisible struggles, which are challenges in your life that people can't see or people can't fully understand, which is why I believe it's so important for everyone to just be kind and patient with each other, because you never know what someone else is going through. And the challenges that you have in your life might be really different from the challenges that I'm going to be talking about in this slideshow, but I really hope that the emotions that I discuss and coping strategies as well can apply to your life and can help you get through any challenges that you may be going through as well. Prematurity. I was born premature, weighing 1 pound, and I survived against all odds. I was this tiny when I was born. I could fit into the palm of your hand. Unfortunately, my twin brother, Obiala, passed away a week after we were born. He was born premature as well. But I love him and I always carry him along with me in my heart. Due to my prematurity, I faced many medical challenges and that still affect me today. I've always lagged behind my peers in growth due to being growth restricted and having minimal body fat. Due to that, I'm always cold. I'm always wearing like sweaters and long pants, even when the weather is really nice outside. I also suffered from reflux until age 12 due to perforated esophagus. And due to having weak muscles and poor fine motor skills, I couldn't hold a pencil until age 5. And even my prematurity affected like little things in my life. I couldn't carry heavy groceries like my other family members could. I couldn't give my younger cousins piggyback rides because they'd be too heavy for me. But I'm really grateful to my mom, who's sitting over there. Her constant, unwavering love and support has reminded me that my disability, my challenges with being premature are not weaknesses, they're strengths. Despite my hearing loss, which I'll talk about soon, I'm still able to play the piano and compose my own music. Despite my weak muscles, I'm able to play tennis, swim, and play the clarinet. That's a picture of me a few weeks after I was born, and that's a photo of me and my mom. My challenges and experiences due to being born premature have inspired me to want to be a neonatologist, which is a doctor that cares for newborn and premature infants. I just hope to be able to give them the same chance at life that I was given. Hearing loss. In addition to being born premature, I suffer from severe unilateral hearing loss in my right ear. Due to that, if you were to talk on this side, your voice would sound like a whisper, whether you were close up or far away. So this ear on the left side is my good ear, and it really works for both of my ears. It sometimes feels superhuman, because although it's challenging, I'm still able to go to school and function and work as hard as my classmates. But it does affect my life daily, and it's something that I just had to live with. Sometimes I'll be talking with my friends, and they'll be sitting here, and I can't hear anything that they're saying. So when I feel like it, I'll just tell them about my hearing loss, and we'll switch places, and they're totally fine with it. Sometimes it's hard to have to keep telling people, so I'll just turn my body this way so I could hear a little bit better. It's something that I've been used to. So in comparison, getting diagnosed with scoliosis at age 14 was something completely new and unknown in my life, and something that I wasn't really used to. Before I go into my personal experience with it, I just wanted to give you a general overview. Scoliosis is a sideways curvature of the spine. Although it's a sideways curvature, it's also like a rotational issue, so your vertebrae can rotate as well. Scoliosis has many different causes. Sometimes people are born with scoliosis, which is congenital scoliosis. Other times it can be the effect of another condition. And in adolescence, scoliosis can be triggered by a growth spurt. Adolescent idiopathic scoliosis affects adolescents ages 10 to 18, and the cause is unknown. Some management options for scoliosis include bracing. I have a photo of myself in my brace later, but basically a brace is just like a plastic brace that's around your torso, and they mold it to match your body and the specific way that your body curves. And the goal is to reduce your curves or keep your spine stable so it doesn't get worse. In addition to bracing, kids with scoliosis can do physical therapy or yoga. Scoliosis-specific physical therapy is called Shroth yoga or Shroth physical therapy because they do exercises that kind of keep your spine neutral, so you're not bending or twisting too much. And surgery is an option for managing scoliosis, but it's really used as a last resort because it's something that's more permanent and more invasive. That's another photo of what scoliosis could look like. This is more of like a C curve compared to what a straighter spine looks like. These are some signs and symptoms of scoliosis. Sideways curvature of the spine, having chronic back and body pain, overt concern about posture, lack of flexibility, the inability to bend and touch your toes like you used to, having one shoulder higher than the other, seeing an uneven waist, the inability to sleep well like before, and shortness of breath during little to no activity. These are some facts about scoliosis. According to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, girls should start to be screened for scoliosis at ages 9 to 10, and boys should be screened for scoliosis at ages 11 to 12 with the Adams-Ford bend test. This is something that could be that's sometimes done at schools. It's also something that can be done in like a pediatrician's office or some sort of with a medical provider, but it's really simple. I don't know if you can see because of the table, but basically you bend over like this, and the medical provider will be looking for physical inconsistencies in your body. Like I said before, having one shoulder higher than the other and uneven waist. They'll be looking for like protrusions or prominences in your back. And then they also might use a scoliometer, which is a tool to measure rotation, which can correlate with the actual curvature of your spine and your neck. According to Cleveland Clinic, adolescent idiopathic scoliosis affects 2 to 3% of adolescents in the United States. An article from Johns Hopkins Medicine states that roughly 3 million new cases of the condition are diagnosed in the United States each year. And yet, when I was diagnosed with scoliosis, I felt completely alone. My scoliosis journey. I really thought that prematurity would be my hardest life challenge, but I was wrong. At 14 years old in 2021, before I entered 9th grade, I was diagnosed with adolescent idiopathic scoliosis. I had a severe scoliosis. I have a photo later, but basically my lumbar curve, which is like the lower part of your spine, was in a severe surgical range. It was in the 50s, like 51 degrees. And the upper part of my spine around here, which is called your thoracic spine, that one was more like moderate scoliosis, so it was in the 30s. But because of the larger lower curve, I was in surgical range. I was diagnosed for scoliosis when I went to get a physical to be cleared to play tennis because I really wanted to try out for the tennis team in 9th grade. My normal, usual pediatrician wasn't there, and so there was a stand-in pediatrician that did the physical. And I told her that for the past few months, things have been different. I've been feeling a lot of pain. Sometimes I'll have so much pain in my back that, I'll be lying on the ground and I can't get up for like 2 minutes. And around this time was COVID, and so a lot of people were online. I did online school during 8th grade, and so the next time I saw my classmates was at my graduation party. And I noticed that they were a lot taller than me, and I felt a lot shorter, which is different from how it used to be. So I told her all these things. She decided to screen me for scoliosis, and she wasn't really sure, she thought I was fine, but just in case, let's get an x-ray. And so we did the x-ray and it showed that I had severe scoliosis. The pediatrician was really surprised by this because he said if you looked at me, I looked straight, I looked even. Sometimes when you have scoliosis, the unevenness in your body and those prominences are more obvious or noticeable. After we met with the pediatrician, I had an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon just to get more information about this diagnosis. And at this very first appointment with the orthopedic surgeon, he wanted to schedule me for surgery. He kind of, made me seem that this was like a really big deal or something that needed to urgently be taken care of, which was really frightening for me. I just found out that I had scoliosis and now I have to get surgery. But I'm really grateful for my mom, who was there to support me, and she did her own research, and we were able to find that there are other options you can do before surgery. Oh, and that's me in my brace right there. It's in this photo too. I wore a brace for 22 to 23 hours a day. That brace right there. It was really uncomfortable, because it felt like a cage. It was this new thing that I had to wear for such a long time. But eventually I got used to it, and I almost felt like it was a part of me, or it was supporting my body. But it was definitely something that took a while to get used to. I also attended weekly physical therapy and yoga. Since this was my first year of high school, 9th grade, it really took a toll on me because, I felt like my world was upside down. I had all these plans, and now things are different. I really felt alone because I didn't know anybody else who had scoliosis. None of my class, I didn't really know anybody in my class who had scoliosis or scoliosis as severe as I did, and I questioned why this was happening to me. I didn't always tell people when I was in pain, although I experienced constant 24/7 pain. because I didn't want to feel like a burden or I was constantly asking for something. But I was able to positively channel my emotions through writing, art, and music, which were creative outlets that I already enjoyed doing, and I was able to apply it when I really needed it in this difficult situation. It helped me to cope with my pain and turn my pain into something beautiful and relatable that I can share with others. Having scoliosis also deepened my appreciation for nature. I guess as you can see in this painting here, and I'll explain it soon, I realized that not all trees are perfect, straight up and down. Some of them are curved like my spine, and that reminded me to be strong and confident in my individuality. As you can see, that's a photo of me next to my beloved trees. Creative outlets. Writing. Writing has always been very therapeutic for me. I've been writing since I was young. My mom instilled a love for writing within me. I started with writing essays after we traveled. My mom was the one who introduced me to poetry as well. And just being able to have that foundation of writing at a young age allowed me to eventually become a published author of 6 books available on Amazon by age 13. The first book that I published is called Pure Moments of a Child. I wrote it at age 9. It's a book of poems. And again, just having started writing so early allowed me to apply it to a situation when I needed it most. My love for writing and my scoliosis experience kind of merged into a role I now have as the New York State Youth Poet Laureate. When I applied to be the New York State Youth Poet Laureate, I submitted 3 of my poems about scoliosis, which allowed me to win the competition. As the 2024 to 2025 New York State Youth Poet Laureate, I've been able to lead writing and art workshops for kids ages 10 to 18 in the greater Rochester. Scoliosis is, and I also teach them how to use creative outlets like writing, art, and music to positively express themselves. I also attend literary events across New York where I recite my poetry. More recently in May 2025, I recited my poetry as a headliner of a poetry recitation at the Guggenheim Museum in New York City, which was a really great experience. So this is me at the Guggenheim Museum at that poetry recitation. This is a photo of me with kids at a 4-week series writing art workshop that I led in Rochester, New York. And that's one of my books of poems, The Rose at Sunset. I'm really grateful that I've been able to communicate my emotions and thoughts through writing, because writing poems about my scoliosis definitely helped me to open up and gave me the confidence that it was okay to ask for help, and also taught me how to communicate my pain and my scoliosis in a way that connected with other people and that helped them to understand what I was going through so that way they could better help me. In addition to writing, I love art, I love music. With art, I can use shapes, colors, and images to say what words can't say. This is a sketch that I made at age 15 to better explain my scoliosis experience and the pain that I'm having. I tried to use some more descriptive images like a sword stabbing my back, struggle uprooting me, but in the end I have flowers lining my spine to show that I've been able to find beauty despite the pain. Music, I really love music. I've been playing the piano since age 5. However, later, which I'll talk about, I had scoliosis surgery in January 2023, and during that time I was so weak and in so much pain that I couldn't physically play the piano anymore. But while I was recovering from scoliosis surgery, we had an occupational therapist that introduced me to a music therapist who showed me music notation software that I could use to compose my own music. And at first it was just like a fun hobby that I like to do, but now it's become something I really enjoy and I'm really passionate about. And I've composed over 100 pieces, and a few of them are on Spotify, including these 2. That one is Winter Walks, that one is Wings of Courage, and they're all like instrumentals with piano and violin. So I'm glad that I've been able to find another outlet, an avenue to express myself and it's helpful as well because music distracts me from my pain and gives me something positive to think about and focus on. Stuttering. In addition to the disabilities and medical challenges that I mentioned before, I also have mild stuttering that impacts my life daily. Sometimes I'm in the middle of a sentence and it's really, really hard to get a word out to the point where I can't finish that sentence and I have to change what I want to say or reword the sentence just to complete my thought. Usually it happens if I'm just having a casual conversation with someone. Sometimes it happens if I'm more excited. Although it can be challenging, it's something that I've had for a while. And I would definitely say that practicing writing and practicing public speaking has helped me to better communicate, clearly communicate, and slow down and reflect before I speak, which has been helpful as well. And despite the challenges that stuttering causes in my life, I'm able to enjoy public speaking and recite my poetry for other people to hear. Speaking of reciting my poetry, being the New York State Poet Laureate has definitely positively challenged my writing and public speaking skills. I still do, but I used to write really, really long poems because I thought I would be the only person who would read them in addition to my mom and my family. But as a New York State Poet Laureate, I recite my poetry a lot. And it can be a lot when you have to practice and memorize like 3, 4, 5, 6 page poems. And so I started writing shorter poems and being more intentional about the words I use to make sure that it's engaging for an audience to listen to. My perspective of scoliosis. Over here, this is an artwork that I made at age 15. It is called My Perspective of Scoliosis, and it depicts the pain of my scoliosis journey, but also the beauty that I found despite it. This painting goes along with my poem, Grieving the Loss of Me, which I will read after the presentation. But I can briefly explain the painting here. This curved structure is my spine. It's red at the bottom because I have more pain in my lumbar spine, and yellow at the top because I have less pain up there in my thoracic spine. The spinous processes protrude and grow into a tree, as I said before, because scoliosis has deepened my appreciation for nature, and I've been able to see my spine positively reflected in curved trees. This structure right here is a tree house, and the door is a heart because it represents my heart and how scoliosis has made me a more compassionate person. I've been able to branch out and meet other kids who have scoliosis, and we've been able to positively connect and share our experiences with each other. This cross over here in this church here represents my faith in God and how that has helped me to have a positive outlook on my scoliosis and know that good, positive things can come out of bad, difficult situations. The footprints right here show how, as I said before, I believe we all have invisible struggles, and so it's supposed to show other people walking along the same path as me. The tiny stick figure stuck inside the spine is supposed to represent how I believe that sometimes when we go through challenges, it can be easy to feel stuck in our pain or consumed by negativity. So I'm really thankful that I have positive creative outlets like writing, art, and music to express myself and think beyond myself. The two pathways over here stretch off into the distance because I don't really know what the future has in store for me, but I'll always try to be brave, kind, and let my faith in God guide me. Lastly, the painting is called My Perspective of Scoliosis because I drew it in perspective, which is why the objects in the front are larger and things get smaller in the back. The Finding Scoliosis Kindly Project. Inspired by my own diagnosis and seeing the struggles of some other kids with scoliosis who feel alone or who are bullied for wearing a brace or who have difficulty talking about their scoliosis, I was inspired to found the Finding Scoliosis Kindly Project at 15 years old. The FISC project, or the Finding Scoliosis Kindly Project, raises awareness for scoliosis. It educates people about the condition, and it also supports young people with scoliosis in managing the physical and emotional effects of the condition. Our project includes an educational research survey that has reached over 25 states and 19 countries. It teaches people about scoliosis and also assesses their current knowledge of the condition. I also started a t-shirt fundraiser that has raised over $5,000 to support free scoliosis screening in underserved communities in the USA and Nigeria. This is an example of the t-shirt. It has my artwork as well as some positive uplifting lines from my poetry to just give an example of the positive effect of using creative outlets. I also conduct free scoliosis screening in the USA and Nigeria. I'll talk about this later, but my family, we're from Nigeria, and I have a lot of doctors and medical professionals in my family. And so every year we travel to Nigeria for a free medical mission through my family's nonprofit, the Major International Foundation, where we give free medical care to the people in our hometown community. We serve from like 2,500 people to 3,000 people every year. And in 2023, I was able to screen some kids for scoliosis as well as deliver a scoliosis seminar to the people there. And in 2024, I conducted my own scoliosis research where I screened 37 kids for scoliosis and compared the screening results to their physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, as well as physical activity, which was measured through a questionnaire. I'm also really passionate about scoliosis advocacy through my nonprofit. I've been able to meet with local and state representatives for two main reasons. One, to advocate for June to be proclaimed as National Scoliosis Awareness Month. There's already an ongoing campaign to do that, but I wanted to add to the cause and specifically have it proclaimed in New York State and hopefully across the country. I also meet with representatives to share my own updates on the scoliosis screening guidelines in schools to make them more effective and inclusive at detecting kids with scoliosis. I mentioned the writing art workshops, but I also founded Finding Scoliosis Kindly at my high school before I graduated. I founded it in my junior year. It also raises awareness for scoliosis, and I led writing and art workshops. I organized music concerts for students and staff to perform for the rest of the school, as well as international service projects. And we have open discussions about invisible struggles, whether it's scoliosis or something else, just to create like a positive, safe space for creativity and connection. This is a photo from the Finding Scoliosis Kindly Symposium that I organized on June 29, 2024 to educate the Rochester community about scoliosis. The mayor of Rochester attended the event. I invited him to give opening remarks, and he surprised me by proclaiming June as National Scoliosis Awareness Month in Rochester, New York, which was a really big, important milestone in my Finding Scoliosis Kindly Club for kids at an orphanage in Nigeria. These are some more photos from Finding Scoliosis Kindly Club. This was from the music concert that we did to show the importance of using music to express yourself. We had 11 students and staff members perform, including security guards, which was a really great way for students and staff to show a side of themselves that they might not always be able to show people. This is that photo from the service project we did, and this is a photo of the kids at the Angela Orphanage in Nigeria. They were really excited to receive these kind cards from students with positive messages, just to know that someone's thinking about them and that they're loved. And the kids surprised me by writing thank you cards back to all of the students who participated. So I was able to come back from Nigeria and bring those thank you cards back to the kids. These are some photos from the writing and art workshops that I lead in across the greater Rochester, New York area. Although it's mainly for kids, we do have parents who join in as well, and they're able to learn and benefit from the experience. experience as well as bond with their own child through using creative outlets. In addition to all the other aspects of the Finding Scoliosis Kindly project, I also do research, which I mentioned. This is a photo of me presenting my scoliosis research at the Pediatric Academic Societies Conference in Hawaii in 2025. This was a really incredible experience for me to be able to raise scoliosis awareness on a larger stage. It's a very prestigious conference, and I'm really grateful that I was able to attend with my mom. And as I said, I screened 37 kids in an underserved community in Nigeria, and I'm glad that I was able to discover a new perspective to look at scoliosis from, not just the physical aspects that you would get from the scoliosis screening, but also to consider emotional signs or mental health signs or signs of certain levels of physical activity that you might notice in a kid, and that could be a sign to get them screened for scoliosis. Scoliosis surgery. In January 2023, at age 15, I had scoliosis surgery. This was after a year and a half of wearing my brace and doing physical therapy. Although wearing my brace kept my curve stable and kept it from getting worse, I was still in a lot of pain. And so I did the surgery hoping to alleviate it. I did vertebral body tethering surgery. The usual type of surgery for scoliosis, or the more common one, is spinal fusion, which is more invasive and permanent because they fuse rods to your spine. But for vertebral body tethering, they use a tether or a rope instead to kind of lengthen the spine. So it's supposed to be less invasive. But unfortunately, there were surgical errors and complications that have left me in more pain than I had before surgery. I was wheelchair bound for 5 months, and I missed the second half of 10th grade, but I'm really proud of myself for my resilience. I worked really hard, and I was able to maintain all A's and come back to school for 11th grade as well as 12th grade to finish high school. Although this was a really challenging experience for me, it definitely increased my motivation for raising awareness of scoliosis because I've kind of gone through it all. I wore the brace, I did physical therapy, I did surgery, and so I feel like that kind of increases the knowledge and insights that I'm able to share with other people who have scoliosis. This is a photo of me after my surgery. That's a photo of me, my mom, and my aunt after my surgery. I'm very grateful for the support of my family who were there with me and praying over me for my surgery, as well as my classmates, my friends, and teachers at the time. Just to give you a better idea of what my scoliosis looks like, this is my x-ray. This is my spine before surgery. Like I said, the lumbar spine was in surgical range at 51 degrees, and then the thoracic spine was more moderate at 31.6 degrees. And you can kind of see that it's shaped like an S, but mine was a backwards S. Over here, this is my spine after surgery. It's straighter, but I'm still in more pain than before. But the thoracic curve is 19.1 degrees, and the lumbar curve is 17.6 degrees, so it's straighter, but usually scoliosis surgery, you're able to decrease the curvature, but it doesn't really go down to 0. There's gonna be a little bit left, but yeah. And this is my body before and after surgery. As I said before, when I was first diagnosed with scoliosis, the pediatrician said if you looked at me, it didn't really look like I had scoliosis. But this was right before surgery, so you can see some prominences in my back over here. This is after my surgery. Spinal fusion surgery is accessed from the back, but VBT surgery is accessed from the side. So I have a scar on this side of my body as well as the other side. How I navigate disabilities as a student. Everyone at Syracuse University has been really kind and accommodating with my challenges and disabilities, so I'm really thankful for that. So these are some of the ways that I've been able to navigate high school as well as college. Here in college, due to my prematurity and recovering from scoliosis, I meet with a dietitian every now and then. And I also have a plan with the dining hall. Because of my prematurity, I have minimal body fat, and my surgery recovery, having surgery kind of put me behind as well. So I'm very thankful that I'm able to have this meal plan to stay healthy and strong. Due to my hearing loss, I usually sit in the front of the classroom so that way I can hear better. And my professors are aware of this as well and have been very helpful with that. With my scoliosis, I have accommodations with CDR. I have back cushions in all of my classrooms because that makes sitting easier and less painful for my back. I use the elevators because due to my surgery and the surgical errors, it's kind of caused a lot of symptoms, including a leg length discrepancy, one leg a little higher than the other, that causes me pain when walking long distances. So I use the elevator. I also get around to classes with the medical transport system, access queues that we have on campus. That's been very, very helpful. I don't have it with me today, but I use a rolling backpack. So that way I have less weight on my back, which has been helpful as well, and I'm able to fit everything in there. I also do weekly physical therapy off campus and physical therapy in my dorm room. I was really hoping that I wouldn't have to continue to do physical therapy after surgery, but because I'm still recovering, I'm glad that I'm still able to do it to stay strong, stay flexible, and continue to exercise. Lastly, I do have constant back pain, but I know myself and I always try not to push myself beyond my boundaries. But yeah, everyone at Syracuse University has been really helpful. So if you have your own challenges, there's so many resources on campus and so many people out there here who can help you. These are some takeaways from my presentation. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Although it was kind of hard for me to continuously ask for help, especially with my pain, because I didn't want to be a burden. I realized I wasn't a burden. And it's okay to ask for help when you need it, and just to be clear about what you need so people can help you in the best way they can. I would also advise that you get screened for scoliosis, even if you're older than 18, because I've met so many adults who have scoliosis, but they said that they've had it since they were a kid, but they only found out now. So it's really important to get screened because you never know when you could get it. As I said before, the age for girls to get screened is like 9 to 10, and boys is 11 to 12. But I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and I got scoliosis at age 14. I didn't have it earlier then, so you never know when it could come up. So it's always good to get screened. It's really simple. As I said before, you may not have scoliosis, but we all have our own invisible struggles, whether it's physical, emotional, social, anything. So it's important to be kind and patient with each other. And no matter the challenge you're facing, you're not alone. And there are people out there who want to support you and want to help you. And when you're going through a tough time, it's really great if you can find your own positive ways to connect with others, communicate what you're going through, and express your pain. It doesn't have to be writing or art or music. Everyone has their own thing. But I like being able to present writing and art and music as options because those are ways that have helped me. And lastly, you're never too young to make a positive difference in your community. Although scoliosis is an ongoing challenge in my life, I really can't imagine who I would be without it. It's allowed me to connect with my smaller and larger community in so many beautiful ways. It's allowed me to express myself through this, through writing, through music, in so many different ways. And so it's a challenge, but I really can't imagine who I would be without it. Lastly, what does it mean to embrace your challenges, which is the title of this presentation? It doesn't mean that you enjoy the pain or the difficulties of your challenge. It just means that you're changing your mindset and finding how you can learn and grow from this difficult experience. In the poem I'm about to read, I have a line that says, "Don't erase your sorrow, embrace it. Don't repair your pain, repurpose it." And I think that's what it means to find that new perspective. As I said, I really can't imagine who I would be without my scoliosis. And to embrace your challenges is to know that they do not have to negatively affect the trajectory of your life or stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly read a poem about scoliosis so you can kind of get a sense of how I've been able to use writing to express myself. This poem is called Grieving the Loss of Me. I wrote it at age 15. It depicts the pain of my scoliosis journey, but also the beauty that I found despite it. And it goes along with this painting over here, my perspective of scoliosis. Grieving the Loss of Me by OlaRose Ndubuisi. I'm yet to truly grieve the loss of an individual that was close to me. But for the past year, I have been grieving the loss of a piece of me. A piece that I didn't realize was so vital, like batteries are for a toy, until it became the rival of my joy. I took the placidity of my life for granted, and now my world has been twisted and slightly slanted. I have scoliosis, which makes my spine curved, like the imperfect trunk of a bare tree. My pain is hidden, but it is through the power of poetry that I set it free. It is not the event that shakes us, but the grief of what once was, that shatters the shield of stability guarding our hearts. We must pick up the fragments of our past and reshape it to frame the portrait of the present. The stormy, sorrowful chapters in our lives are meant to nourish the drought of bravery in our hearts, fill the empty pages of naive bliss in our minds, and create an overflowing oasis of perseverance in our souls. When a tree is cut down, its branches and leaves fall to the ground. It is now a tree stump, but its purpose is not stunted. The tree becomes a pillar of solace, a rest place for the weary. Likewise, rather than viewing scoliosis as the death of what once was, I view it as the beautiful birth of what is. My back won't ever be the same, but it has taught me to acknowledge the heavens, individual teardrops within the falling rain. I say that I wish I didn't know the meaning of chronic back pain, but without it, I wouldn't be able to truly understand the suffering of others. I say that I miss not having to do physical therapy, wear a brace, or be faced with whether to undergo life-changing surgery or not. But these trials have taught me that strength and resilience cannot be bought. I wish I didn't have the desire to detach my vulnerable body from my defiant spine, but this has encouraged me to mentally disconnect myself from the temporary pain, corporeal inconsistencies, and worldly things of life. Now I look deep into my soul, where the everlasting joy, incorporeal consistencies, and the vessel of truth resides. As I grieve the loss of my former life, I realize that I have been given a new one in exchange. In my mind, I climb up my spine like a ladder, using each spinous process as a foothold. As I climb higher, my spine transforms into a tree with protruding branches that bear fruits like apples and cherries. Nestled safely in a branch's embrace is the house of love that holds my heart. I enter the house and gaze out the window, admiring the unfathomable height of my spine, the incredible progress I've made. My scoliosis reworks itself, no longer adopting the form of a ladder or a tree. Each vertebra now looks like a building block suspended in air by faith. My spine is like the unstable structure of a dilapidated skyscraper that is plagued by thunderous spiritual storms, worn down by the persistence of time, abandoned by the fickleness of humanity, and balancing only upon a rusted beam of fragility, waiting to collapse. However, it hasn't crumbled yet. It has defied the law of inevitability that is applied to all hopeless cases, without room for miraculous nuances. In its imperfect curved form, my spine stays strong, as if it is holding onto hope, helping me stand up tall, even when my confidence wants to shrink and feel small. We all navigate the labyrinth of grief in different ways, searching for the museum of memories, where every thought is a finished painting, not a forsaken sculpture. For some, this process is therapeutic if you persist. For others, this process will tear up you if you resist. I scale my scoliosis like a mountain meant to be overcome, while swimming through the experience like an ocean meant to be immersed in. Don't erase your sorrow, embrace it. Don't repair your pain, repurpose it. After your tears have been freed, like a songbird trying to escape a cage of self-control, you must compose a new melody in your soul to redefine the meaning of whole. Transform a period of grieving a loss into a period of gratitude for love. Grief means that you understand what it is to feel. When you understand, you can connect, which becomes an invitation for someone else to heal. Embracing the truth that sorrow is something we can share reminds me that healing happens if we simply care to dare. Thank you. All right, on to the writing and art workshop. So usually before we do the main writing activity, I always like to do a creative warm-up so we can get into just the spirit of creating. So you all can grab a piece of paper and their colored pencils over there. But basically for the creative warm-up, we're gonna do it for 5 minutes. And I would like all of us to express something positive that has happened this week. You know, maybe you earned a great score on an exam, you had fun with your friends, you got a good night's sleep. It can be in any form. It can be a poem, a story, artwork, drawing, or just a few sentences. So I just want us to get in the spirit of creating. And if nothing comes to mind, you can think of something positive that you want to happen in the future. You know, it was cold before, but now the weather is getting warmer. More people are spending time outside. I really like seeing all the students out on the grass in front of the Hall of Languages because it looks like something that should be on the school website or like in those campus brochures. It's really nice. However, you know, back when it was cold and snowy, it was really easy to just focus on the difficult weather and forget about how beautiful and fun campus can be. When the sun comes out, it shines across campus, making its beauty visible. So our main prompt is create a piece about shining a light on something invisible. These are the more specific prompts. So your 2 options. 1, you can either describe something in nature that is invisible but becomes visible in some situations. One common nature analogy would be bare trees. You know, in the winter, the trees are bare. You can't see their leaves. They're hidden, invisible. But when spring comes along, the trees, the plants, they blossom and you can see the leaves now. So that's one example, but if you want to do that prompt, there's so many examples in nature. Or the second one is a little bit more personal and reflective. What is something in your life that feels invisible or misunderstood and that you wish more people could see and know better about you? And this doesn't have to be about a disability or a physical condition you have. It can be anything. It could be like a hobby you have or an activity you have that you enjoy, but maybe you don't really get to show it off to people. It could be a personality trait. Maybe you're a more shy and reserved person, and you wish that there was something people knew about you. Maybe you're more an outgoing and energetic person, and you wish that people knew a different side of you. Here are some prompts that can help you get thinking about it. Is there a location, a situation, a friend that shines a light on this hidden side of you and makes you feel comfortable sharing it? How did you persevere and overcome the challenges of embracing this aspect of yourself? Is this invisible part of you now visible, or is it an ongoing journey? What has this experience taught you? So those are the 2 prompts. Again, you can write a journal entry, you can write a poem, a short story, or you can draw something, however you want to express yourself. So we'll do this for 20 minutes. This is like the main part of the writing art workshop. I'll play the classical music again. If you have any questions about the prompt, feel free to ask me. You can get more paper if you want to, and also feel free to grab more snacks and water. Oh yeah, and you guys don't have to be silent. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I'm a freshman right now, but in my sophomore year, I'm planning on starting a chapter of Finding Scoliosis kind of club at Syracuse University. So we would be doing things like this, which is what I did in the club at high school, writing art workshops like this where we can talk about scoliosis and use writing to express ourselves. We'll have open discussions, not just about scoliosis, but like other invisible struggles that students go through. We'll have music concerts like I did in high school, and we'll also do local and international service projects to kind of spread that space of positivity and compassion. So if you enjoyed this, or you like writing, art, or music, just try to keep this club in mind. I'm hoping to start it next year, so if you see the posters around or see information about it around, feel free to come by for a meeting when I get started. So thank you so much for coming and listening to my presentation, poetry reading, and participating in my workshop. If you're interested in learning more about the Finding Scoliosis Kindly project and my scoliosis advocacy, you can visit www.findingscholiosiskindly.org. I also have merchandise from the Finding Scoliosis Kindly project back there. You can look at samples. 100% of the proceeds from the merchandise directly support the writing art workshops that I do in the greater Rochester, New York area, and they also support the free scoliosis screening that I do for kids in Nigeria. And if you want to stay updated on me, my poetry, art, music, scoliosis advocacy, or just my college journey, you can follow me on Instagram at OlaRose Official. I also have like TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, but I think most college students use Instagram. So that's the QR code for my Instagram, and that's the QR code for the FISP website. And if you have any questions, feel free to come up to me, ask them. I love answering questions. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you.
Aww. Thank you, OlaRose.